Welcome back to The Edge. Maryland's ad text is here. What you need to know. Microsoft Bing rolls out 5 upgrades to their search results. Have your rich results disappeared? Google say they might not trust your website. You're listening to News from The Edge for the week of March 8th, 2021, episode 400, here on The Edge of the Web.
From the Edge of the Web studios, here's what we're looking at this week.
This is Edge of the Web Radio. I'm your host, Aaron Sparks, owner of Site Strategics. Every week we bring you amazing guests to chat with and about trending digital marketing topics. Each week we're covering SEO and digital marketing news separate from our weekly interviews. Getting more news to you more quickly each and every week. So check us out over at Edge of the Web Radio. Sign up for our newsletter as well, because we're sending out this content that we're broadcasting to you in your email inbox. So free of charge, just jump over at edgeofthewebradio.com. You can also, I think, text to the number 22828, the word EDGE TALK, and be able to subscribe right there. This is the Site Strategics Digital Marketing News Desk of Edge of the Web. Site Strategics is actually the title sponsor of our show. Our core specialties are actually SEO, SEM, social media conversion rate optimization, and omni-channel media marketing. Also focus on results-based marketing. So if you're interested in what we do over at Site Strategics, just give a call over at 877-736-4932. That's 877-736-4932. Joining me this week to get his take on all things in the digital marketing news is Morty Oberstein, SEO Liaison at Wix. How you doing, Morty?
Good. Hey, the 877 number, is that toll-free?
That is a toll-free number, absolutely.
All right. I'm just checking.
Yeah. Keep me honest. We've had that. It actually translates into 877 SEO for web. How about that?
Huh, who's web?
Everybody's web.
Yeah. I get a for web.
Oh, gotcha.
That was terrible.
That was lame.
I'm hang up now. That was terrible.
You want to restart that?
Yeah, can I get a do-over?
We'll just fix it in post. How about that? So what's going on?
I want a mulligan.
Well, what is a mulligan? I have no. That's a sports reference.
You get a do-over somehow. I hate golf.
Golf is really kind of the worst.
Golf is the worst. It's almost bad as tennis and soccer.
George Carlin had a great take on golf, but I can't say it on this show because it's kind of PG.
You can't say anything George Carlin said anywhere.
No, you can't. They're probably going to cancel him. Hey, your hair got canceled. What's going on there?
Where? Who? What?
Your
What's
hair.
canceled?
Yeah, you got.
Oh, my hair got. Yeah. I hair got. Hey, I'm going bald. That's not nice. Wow, that was rough. I mean, I've had people make comments before, but your hair got canceled?
Well, some of it. I mean, we're talking about a Morty haircut on the screen.
I got a haircut,
nice and dapper. So, I mean,
thank you.
All things being
because I got my vaccines. I'm fully vaccinated, so now I can go into places and get things done.
Problem is, we're not vaccinated against you.
Yeah. So also, the problem is the vaccination hasn't cured my real problems. So I can go places, but is that a good thing? Do you really want me going places?
No. That's not.
No,
that's
probably not.
Probably not.
Corona was a lifesaver for the world. Morty had to stay home.
Now he's out. So
now I'm out. That's it. Cat's out of the bag.
Beware, everybody. So where are you hailing from? Just for our listeners who haven't come across you before.
I am from Israel. I mean, I'm from America, but now I live in Israel.
And you're right down the street from.
From the shawarma place and the falafel stand. I'm near Jerusalem.
So just everybody who's listening to this from Israel, if you see this guy walking down the street next to the falafel stand, right?
Yep. I take autographs. Go ahead, come over. I'll sign your SEO for you.
So, how do you sign your SEO?
I don't know. How do you do SEO?
You don't. You cannot do SEO. See?
Links. Buy links.
Just buy links.
I'll sell you links.
PBN.
I have a trench coat I sell links out of near the falafel place.
Oh, now that's a visual right there. All right. Enough of this banter. We got a news article coming up here.
I feel like you hit it in the intro and then not again.
Okay. Well, this is a special episode. This is 400 episodes we've been doing for the show. Oh, wow. Look at that. We've got fireworks.
See, I was ready, and they're cheering.
Fantastic.
Well done.
No, that's all embed. You should have had it on the screen.
I can do that again.
All right. Well, that was a dry run. Thank you very much. I appreciate the celebration. 400 bloody episodes, Morty. What in the world was I thinking?
Wow, that's a lot of that's a lot of hot air right there. I mean, congratulations. That is a major achievement.
You actually sound like my kids, believe it or not. They had a running joke this weekend of who in their right mind would be listening to Dad that long. Well, we certainly appreciate.
Let's just leave it at congratulations. It's a major achievement.
Thank you.
This is an amazing podcast.
9 years we've been doing this, and we certainly appreciate everybody's feedback. And we hope we're useful in the SEO and digital marketing market. And we certainly are blessed with it. As many guests as we've been able to talk to over the years, it's kept our powder dry and teaching our staff and team how to do SEO.
Yeah, now you're stuck with me. 400.
Oh
Congratulations.
my Lord! Yeah, how did we end up with Morty? That's the question.
I just sort of showed up one day. No.
Yeah.
Here's the 400 more.
I hacked your
with
Zoom.
Morty.
He just wouldn't go away, would he? Right. It's like I met him at SMX. Met him at SMX last year. It's like a bad penny. He keeps on turning up. All right.
The last time I saw Morty in person was when COVID started.
That's right.
I'm just saying.
Coincidence? I think not.
And the beginning cases were in San Jose.
Oh, were they really?
They were. Wow. Well, not the beginning.
We got out of there.
I mean, honestly, there was a heck of a lot more in China, right? But no, it was a little bit scary, but not anymore, right?
Nope.
Now, because you're vaccinated. Now we're gonna do.
I'm vaccinated. That's right.
All right, let's get to what everybody's tuning in for. From search engine land, George Wynn, will Google pass the cost of digital ad taxes to U.S. advertisers? Maryland's the first state to pass a tax on digital advertising. In countries such as UK, Australia, and Turkey, Google has passed those costs to advertisers. Will it do the same in the U.S.? That's the big question here. So, let's talk about what the ad tax is. Is that in those countries aforementioned there have been a number of taxes directed towards Google and other advertisers. A digital advertising tax, basically. And Maryland's the first state in the U.S. to actually apply that. So Maryland's tax applies to revenue from digital ads that are shown inside the state. That's the one big asterisk right there. And is only applicable to companies that generate over 100 million from digital advertising. Ads from companies, in this case, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, and Facebook, will be taxed at a rate of 2.5% up to 10%, depending on their annual global revenue. Ads from Google, which brings in far more than $15 billion a year in revenue, will be taxed at the ceiling of 10%. The tax will come into effect beginning of this tax year and is expected to generate approximately $250 million in its first year, and the funds from it will go towards Maryland schools. All right, I'm going to pause right there for a second. So digital advertisers, right, and ad platforms are actually getting revenue from advertisers in these particular states, but Maryland's actually charging tax of just the display of ads that are in their state. Let's talk about that, in their state. How do you actually associate the in your state qualifier there, Marty?
I mean, they know everything.
Maryland? I don't think so.
The IRS. That's not the IRS. Maryland.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually have no idea how that actually works.
That was my first question.
That's
here.
not my cup of tea.
Oh, but I mean, okay. What if you're on a VPN?
IP addresses?
Yeah. Well, I mean, is that? And do IP addresses actually are they mandated by state lines? See, there's how are you defining that this is actually showing up in your state? That's the first question that I had.
I have no idea. I didn't think I was too angry about this whole thing to think about how they're actually going to do it.
Oh, let loose the Kraken then. Tell me how angry you are.
Can I say bad words at this podcast?
We can always digitally remove you, right?
Okay, because I bullshit from this whole thing. Because first off, the money's going to the schools. Let me tell you something from a teacher who used to work in Baltimore City. The kids are never going to see that money.
No,
that's the first thing.
Right.
Because we never saw that money. It always went somewhere else. Okay, slow down, Morty, slow down. First off, okay, as you mentioned, Google, Facebook, they're going to pass this on, as they have in other places to the consumer. Now, the Maryland says we're finding ways and we're going to figure. They don't have a way, but they pass it anyway. So Maryland knows that the Google's going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
They know damn well that the consumer in the end is going to be the one getting hit by this.
Right.
People advertising, your small business advertising is going to get hit by this. And they know that. But the optics look like, oh, we're going after big business.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not doing anything bad. We're going after Google and Facebook, and everybody's on board with that. Except they know damn well that what's going to happen is that a small business in San Francisco running ads to show up in Maryland is going to end up getting the cost for this.
Exactly.
But it's first come, first served, because all the SMBs in Maryland who aren't showing advertisements in Maryland, who are showing advertisements in other states, won't get hit by this.
Correct.
Because no other state has it yet.
Yet.
Now, they'll say the money is going to go to schools, but you should know that most of the counties in Maryland are some of the most wealthy counties in the country.
So,
how do I know this?
Yes, because
I lived in Maryland and I worked in the poorest of the poorest school. I worked at one of the most poorest schools in the entire state of Maryland. And I can tell you that the money never found its way to those kids. So when Maryland says, oh, well, the money's going to come to the kids. No, it won't. And if it does, it's going to go to the rich kids anyway.
So they're posturing. They're what do you call it? They're throwing up some what do you want to call it? Yeah.
Being politicians.
Politics.
It's just politics, exactly.
It's just politics. It's got nothing to do with helping anybody except their budget shortfalls from COVID.
So along the same lines here is they already know that Google and Facebook, well, Google and Amazon have actually already passed those tax challenges from Europe to the consumers, and Google actually already notified people that were advertising, companies that were advertising in those countries, that they are going to be getting hit with this additional tax for actually advertising. And it makes sense that if they can bend in the wind and be able to pass that over to their advertisers, those advertisers are considering it as a cost of doing business, right? So
what do they know this?
Yeah, they do.
They know this is going to happen.
But they're doing it anyway. They're virtue signaling inside of their city, inside of their state, right? And they're also there's a number of states also getting in line as well. So it's not only that now Search Engine Land actually reached out to a number of advertisers, and they started to kind of unpack the digital strategy changes that they're going to have to make on behalf of their customers. If you think about this, if you actually sell, I believe if you have any type of digital commerce in the state of California, you actually have to charge not only state tax, but municipality tax. I mean, your cart has to adjust so many different ways for all the different tax variations. Now you're actually going to have to adjust your budget based on all the different state tax variations. Well, 2.5% minimum over in Maryland and maybe 6.5 minimum over in New York. Now you're having to set your campaign's budget separately, so you can actually adjust for all of those that otherwise you're not going to be able to have a good bead on what the cost per acquisition is, what the ROI is, because of all the multiple state broadcasts that you're doing with your digital marketing, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, and that's, inevitably that's what happens. That's what you're going to have to deal with. And I understand, like, that part I think is probably very annoying and very upsetting, but to me, the absolute ridiculousness is just they know what this is going to be, and that's going to end up hurting SMBs. Right.
Absolutely.
And that sucks.
Nope. And
in the middle of a pandemic, you want to hurt SMBs.
And absolutely. And there's no accountability of where those funds are actually going to go. And that's a whole nother rigmarole regarding.
No, there's accountability. They're going to go to the richest school districts. That's where the money always goes. I vouch for that.
So here's the other thing is that Facebook did not pass those taxes on to their advertisers when those taxes hit them from Europe, right? And there's a bit of an example here that to the customers in the UK, Facebook has actually been spared a 2% tax off of that platform. So bending, what we're seeing here is if the advertiser platforms play nice or don't pass that on, the taxing authority has the option, has the thought of possibly releasing these platforms from a portion of their tax. So now we have virtue signaling in a whole nother display here. Well, we're going to take care of the SMBs. So if you decide not to pass those taxes on, right, then we'll give you a tax allowance or a waiver for a portion of those as well.
Yeah, but that's what it all is, right? So now it's the state or whoever the taxing authority is saying, okay, well, now it's your choice. You want to pass them on, now you'll look bad.
Right.
Versus, right? Yeah. So Facebook didn't take the bit. It's all a whole bunch of nonsense. I'm not saying, by the way, that like, look, do I feel bad if Google or Facebook gets taxed a little bit? No, I don't really care. Let them get taxed. Fine by me. But just do it in a way that like there's not a chance they're going to pass this on to the SMBs.
Right. No, absolutely not. So be ready for that. This news about Maryland is not going to be the only news. So watch carefully as legislation goes across the country. You'll be seeing that come up in a state and city near you. Kudos to George Wynn for reporting this. This just came across our desk last week. So it's hot, and it's certainly going to get some momentum there. And a lot of people are going to get irate, to say the least. Well, they'll pull a Morty, right?
Hey, at every second of every day.
All right. From Search Engine Journal by Matt Southern, search results are being upgraded at Microsoft Bing. There are 5 key Bing features being updated. They include intuitive highlighting of content, integrated visual search, expandable carousels, infographic-like SERPs, and richer results for local queries. I want to take a gander at that article, and we have all these at our show notes, so please drop in there over at edgeofthewebradio.com. 5 upgrades to the search experience. They're touching on these, and the latest updates have one thing in common. They all combine visually rich imagery with text-based information in a single view. What really interested me was the infographic-like SERPs. If you, Jacob, if you scroll on down to there to the image of the giraffe, and sorry for everybody listening at home, but there's something interesting there, is that this is quite creative. There's if you and there's a screen grab of what it used to look like, the example of the old experience, and there was a header graphic of a montage of images. But now, if you look and search for giraffe, you're seeing an overlay of a country on a hero image of a giraffe. The giraffe's head's poking up above the graphic. Then you have a number of very artistically rendered pieces of information in an infographic. Back and forth of data set plus graphic, very eye-pleasing. But the deal here is, my question is this knowledge panel type of information, or is Microsoft actually creating this as custom graphics for a particular knowledge subject matter? What do you think about that, Morty?
First off, I like it. I mean, Bing does some really cool things on their SERP that people don't really know about, because it is what it is. Not that I think Bing is bad. I think just, different folks to different strokes for different folks. There we go. I got it. Scratch, reverse it. I love the infographic thing is amazing. I mean, look, they're trying.
It's tool.
They're trying to bring in people saying, okay, like just like Google, right? I'll go to Google, I'll get my information. Well, Bing just sort of upped that game a little bit.
Yeah,
they really upped that game a little bit. And it's a visual. People are what? I mean, I should know this. I used to be a teacher, right? How many percent? 70-something people, 70-something percent of people are visual learners.
Yep.
So there you go.
A high degree of visual learners. My question is, it's very pleasing. My question is, who's creating it, and the consistency that's going to be needed against all subject matters, all topics, right? I mean, are they sporadically springing, or is this kind of a department of Bing now to actually to move content in this type of infographic breakout? Who's actually conducting all that? Or is this knowledge panel type of information?
And do they have any openings in the giraffe department? Because at Bing, that's what I want to know.
The giraffe department?
Just working on the giraffe page.
I think so.
And the real, I mean, it looks like go for it. You should apply. They have
I'll let you guys know.
Hello, Bing. I'd like to apply to your giraffe department.
I mean, there's a creative side here, and it's consistent in design, right? It takes a bit of time to create that, and instead of a knowledge panel where you've got boxed in graphics, they're taking a whole nother direction of creativity there.
Yeah, I don't know how they're doing that at scale like that. I mean, they must.
That's my
They're
question.
probably designing each one. There's no other way to do it.
Nope. No, there's not.
But yeah, I mean, it's knowledge panel information. That's basically what it is. But it's being like specifically curated. That's a whole other level.
Yeah, I know. That's what really intrigued me. Now there's a number of other things that they've updated. Expandable carousels, visual search is also very cool. While browsing the card-based results, you can actually have an option to instantly conduct a visual search to find similarly looking objects. It's cool from a utilitarian standpoint, but this really took my eye as, okay, if you're actually expanding into something from a creative standpoint, right? How are you going to keep that consistency? Are you really taking that far of a leap into knowledge panel and semantic relationships of information out there? That's next level stuff.
What's interesting is like each of the elements is a link.
Yes.
So it's not just like a knowledge panel, like here's all the information without the link to it, which is nice, by the way, and something that Google could really learn from.
Mm-hmm.
You could put the information there and have the link there.
Yep.
It's all like, they have, I'm just looking at it now, like, no human-like fingerprints. No two giraffes have the same pattern. You click on it, and it goes to 11 facts about giraffe from dosomething.org.
This is my calling.
That's sad.
I think it's cool. It's just,
it's great.
How much?
It really is.
I mean, dedicating that much time to that. I mean, I'd be interested to see kind of a map of all the infographic knowledge panels that they start coming up with.
Just wait till the teachers we're back on. This is a very educationally oriented
Yes,
podcast.
I was about to say that. Absolutely.
Imagine if I was a teacher and I saw this, I'd come to Bing every time. Google did try something like this. They have like web stories for animals.
Right.
But this is way
since
better.
Animals can't actually use a computer, then it was completely. I see.
Oh, yeah. No, but this is way better because like in there you're stuck. The only way you can access the information is if you're stuck in that little story in the ecosystem.
Right.
But here you can click on the links and go back and come in and go out as you please.
Oh, this is very educationally based, and I mean this is a play towards those.
Smart to go after like animals. Like I'm telling you, like teachers get a hold of this. It's a nice resource.
Absolutely.
We'll keep coming back to Bing.
You know what's another nice resource? That's Hrefs, our continued sponsor for Edge of the Web. Yeah, see. Definitely done there. Hrefs makes a competitive analysis very, very easy. Their tools show you how competitors are getting traffic from Google and why. You can see the pages, the content that send them the most search traffic and what exact keywords they're ranking on, as well as the backlinks that are helping them rank. From there, you can actually replicate or improve on their strategies. So check out Hrefs. That's ahrefs.com today. If you're not getting significant search traffic, their tools also help you find topics worth creating pages about, as they got a great keyword analysis tool as well. So go over to Hrefs, that's ahrefs.com, and you'll start swimming in some fantastic data like we do at the shop here every day. I think literally, if I counted on between SEMrush and Hrefs, I think we probably half of our time at our shop are actually in those different platforms regularly. So pretty cool stuff. Make sure you check out them as they're a continued sponsor of the show. All right, our third news article, real quick. Why did my site's rich snippets disappear? Never mind. That's not the title. Rich results disappear. Google says it might be a site-wide quality issue. I don't know why I'm chomping on this one. From Barry Schwartz over at Search Engine Roundtable, if a website suddenly loses its rich results on the Google SERP, John Mueller says it might indicate a site-wide quality issue serious enough to make Google not trust your website. Now, this is pretty interesting here, and I actually wanted to spin around and get John's take on that on a video. Have a look here.
So when it comes to structured data and rich results in general, we try to look at it on several different levels. And I don't know if that applies so much to breadcrumbs, but just to be complete, kind of the first things are kind of from a technical point of view, is it valid markup? It sounds like that's the case. You can test that with the testing tool. The second one is, does it comply with our policies, which probably for breadcrumbs is less of an issue because, I don't know, breadcrumbs are breadcrumbs. It's hard to do them in a bad way, I guess. And the last one is more of a general, usually site-wide signal that is about the quality of the site overall. Like, can we trust this website to provide something reasonable with structured data that we can show in the rich results? And usually what happens when everything from a technical point of view is set up correctly and we've had enough time to process it for indexing and it's still not shown, then that's usually a sign that our quality algorithms around the rich results in general are not 100% happy with your website.
So this obviously makes sense to most everybody who's listening. If you don't know what rich results are or feature snippets, they're content above the organic ranking that's lifted up to be able to show unique information based on the subject matter or topic that's being searched upon. It's kind of position 0. So that's featured snippets, but rich results collectively, there's a number of different ways that rich results are processed. But long story short, if Google can't trust your content, why in the world would it actually give you preferred seating in an organic result? So it makes sense, and I think we all kind of understood that to be the case. But here's John Mueller letting us know that especially on the tails of a huge amount of featured snippet loss over the last 7 to 10 days here, this is really important stuff because it could very well be an incredible signal from Google that if you've lost your featured snippets recently, they could be kind of rethinking the trust factor that they put on you. So Morty, with that setup, what do you think about John's response? Is this old toast here, or is this something a little bit more important?
So a couple of things. One is like, okay, so forget feature snippets are very important. You have to meet a certain quality threshold and authority threshold to get them.
Yep.
But you're talking here, getting your recipe, your structured data inside of the SERP. So that could be anything from having, do you have product information that you want showing up, rich product information, recipe, rich information there, reviews. It's a lot of information that could show up that really sets you apart,
right.
An FAQ from the other results. So we're not showing up is actually a really big deal. I mean, there's studies out there that show what happens when you don't get in. And it kind of makes sense because of, it's structured data. So Google has to trust you that what you're telling Google's in the structured data is what's actually on the page.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's a trust problem, then Google's going to worry about, all right, so does this really match up? Do we have to invest the resources for it to see if it matches up? Do we want to invest the resources? That in of itself is very interesting and very cool.
Yep.
But it also shows you that, and this is an old debate in the SEO world, pages versus the site. It's not just about pages. Right. Your site overall matters.
Absolutely. The site's trustworthiness and whether it can be cited as a source, right? Yep. This is another way to look at the EAT, the knowledge panel semantic SEO realm, is that can you be trusted? Because that's what Google's trying to do, is be able to have continued reference points to organizations and their respective brands and their respective sites, right? Let's make sure that everything's in order there. It's not just about the page content and whether or not you got a 12.5% density in keywords. All right, so let's pull this back for a second here. Morty, have you actually seen a return back to normalcy on the featured snippet loss that we talked about last week?
No, I checked it yesterday, and I didn't see a return back. I know there was something updated because I got an email alert for this campaign where I'm tracking a gazillion keywords, and I saw that a bunch of featured snippets were switched out, meaning new URLs were put in.
Yep, got it.
So I went and thought maybe there's a return to normal, but it was not. So there was an update, meaning something seemed to have happened. Google maybe had a refresh from the current URLs that it's showing. It didn't restore the ones that it took away necessarily.
Right.
But something did happen, but no, they're not back.
All right. So that compiled with this information right here, could we start hypothesizing that they've reset their trust on certain websites? They're looking at this. They've removed a lot of kind of free feature snippets. That kind of maybe got the consumer base nice and trained that these are valuable. Now they're actually removing a few that they've reset that factor on there. Those feature snippets may very well not come back.
So now we have to go into Google conspiracy territory. Did John mention this?
Yeah.
in light of the fact, was it a coincidence that he was recently asked about this?
All right, so I'm going to link up with a fourth story right here, and we just truffled this out this morning. Today, Barry Schwartz actually announced on Search Engine Land, Google brings full coverage news to search results. Longer running news items may be surfaced more for some queries in Google search. Right, so Google announced it's bringing the full coverage feature that you can find in Google News directly to Google Search. Do you see why I'm doing this linkage like this, Morty? Let me unpack this a little bit further. Okay, if you're not familiar with full coverage, in 2018, Google introduced full coverage in Google News at the Google I/O, the company's big developer conference. Back then, they described, or SAL described full coverage as offering a nearly exhaustive array of sources and perspectives on a particular topic, citable references. Google says it was real-time, 360-degree view of news stories and topics, and unlike the personalized feeds elsewhere, everyone sees the same content in full coverage across the globe. The company calls it the most powerful feature of the app. Now, let's talk about web search here. Today, in the U.S. and English results on mobile, you may actually start to see the full coverage in web search. Google said when you're searching for information on a timely topic, I'm going to put that as an asterisk, timely, you'll see a carousel of articles at the top of the search results featuring, highlighting relevant news. Now, for the big developing news stories, you can actually tap into full coverage page after scrolling to the end of the top stories in the carousel, or by selecting more news on right below the carousel. So they've moved this feature into Google Search. Now, if you follow what I was just doing previously with the previous article, they've taken more and more featured snippets out of the equation. So there's a potential trust signal that John Mueller actually even talked about here just recently, right? So now they're shifting over and be able to provide a full coverage of citable references about a topic in search, no longer relegated to news. So what we're seeing here is more and more of the knowledge panel, more and more of the citable references of trustworthy content now making its way to the consumer at the SERP level, so they no longer have to search deep. It's actually right there above the fold, scrollable, and fully interactive on the Google search result pages. And we're seeing a little bit more of the game here of referenceable, trusted, and citable sources that they're picking as who to trust. Okay, I'm going to leave that particular round of conspiracy thought at your feet there, Morty. What do you think?
So I mean, look, this is basically, this is very much like a knowledge-based or knowledge graph sort of breakdown. Look, it's a topic layer. That's really what it is.
Yep.
You have multiple. Google has a news story or a news topic, and it's breaking it down by multiple topics or subtopics, and that could be anything. And then it's also it's trying to give you a holistic breakdown of the topic itself,
yes,
which is really cool, by the way, because how many times you jump into a news story and not understood the full context of it? So it's really great.
Yeah.
Also, if they show local news, that's also really nice because they might get a local news publisher in there where they wouldn't have an opportunity to show up before.
Correct.
So there's more equity again on the SERP, which I think is, again, we talked about a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
The equity on the SERP is becoming a trend, and it's coming out again here. But yeah, this all comes about because Google's able to break down topics, which is a concept, which is an entity, right? Topic is an entity, into multiple layers and levels, hence the topic layer,
right? And
show that on the SERP. And yeah, you have to, in order to qualify for this, you have to have really quality, authoritative content. Obviously, for the main carousels, you're going to be ESPN, or I'm always a sports person,
sure.
ABC News or whatever it is, CBS, blah, blah, blah. Take it in there. And for the local news, again, or the local tab or the local carousel, whatever you want to call it, having that really good, being that local authority on the news, it's going to serve you well.
Nice. DC Universe, if you're searching for Batman. So I'll match your sports with my comic pursuits. But here's the deal, is that you got to be qualified and approved if Google's now cannibalizing ranking, organic ranking, and trending ranking of sites and actually changing the entire SERP for these topical references, and they're the gatekeepers of whether or not you're a valuable, citable content, right? No longer can you actually compete in the organic space if you are a news organization that hasn't been kind of vetted and passed by Google's approval process for this knowledge panel, for this this topical, subtopical map, right?
Well, yeah, I agree, but I'd argue that's been going on for a long time.
Yeah,
You
I'm
search
sure.
for the news, and
Absolutely.
then there's the news carousel. I don't even realize there are results there. I mean, when you're talking about organic results, I'm like, wait, there are organic results beneath the news carousel? I had no idea.
All right, so I'll leave it there. I mean, it's great to be able to see this type of cohesion of subject matter and subtopics, right? And getting a full picture of things. I'm concerned about what many people are concerned about is who is in the approved list, right? Who is the approved news organizations that are going to contribute into this burgeoning knowledge space right here? All right.
But at least on the flip side, if you are local and that local news part section shows up,
Yep.
you might have an opportunity that wasn't there before.
You better believe it, and make sure that you get all of your code clean. Make sure you have your metadata and your schema dialed in, because you could absolutely have a seat at that table at the local level. You're absolutely right.
So it could go both ways. Who knows?
All right. So that said, who's at the seat of SEO chat? Hashtag SEO chat this week.
Oh, okay. Great chat this week, by the way. It's on. Oh, I should know this. I just tweeted about it. Topic clusters.
Oh.
Which is, by the way, really speaks to creating that site authority
Yep.
and that site identity and all that good stuff. So Chimba's hosting this week. Check that out
Absolutely.
at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursday. Topic clusters
Topic
for
clusters.
site authority.
This is exactly what we're talking about. All right.
Content clusters, topic clusters, whatever you want to call them. Can't get more words right.
Always jump into SEO chat. We certainly lift you guys up on a regular basis, because you have some great conversations there. Thanks so much for manning that and getting some great people hosting that as well. Morty, thanks for celebrating our 400th. We certainly
Absolutely.
I wouldn't mind abusing you for another 100 episodes to get to our 500.
That's nice.
Isn't that nice?
I'm getting all verklempt and choked up here.
All right. Well, stay well, and hey, you're released from your prison there, so you can meander the streets, right?
Yeah, and my kids can't because they're not vaccinated. So, ha.
Wow, that wasn't done intentionally at all.
Brilliant.
All right. Thanks so much, Morty. Stay good, and we'll talk to you next week. All right.
Thank you.
All right, so that's it for Edge of the Web News this week. Check out our first part of the Kevin Indig interview. Fantastic interview, as we talked about semantic SEO yet again here on the channel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel as we push video content from the show each and every week. From all of us over at Edge of the Web, stay safe, stay well, and do not be a piece of cyber driftwood. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.